Wagwan, pussy. Right, boys, girls, and everything in between. Today, we're gonna be talking about how to actually progress in skateboarding this summer, because I know a lot of you guys, you get bogged down, you can't really figure out how to progress to the next step, so that's what we're gonna go over. I've got 10 tips for you, maybe even 11 if you're lucky, so let's get straight into it. So the first one, real simple, real easy, and I'm gonna go over these fairly quickly. We're gonna touch a bit on each one, but the first one is get to the skate park early. As you can see, this is like what, 10:30 a.m. and there's absolutely nobody here. If you really wanna get down, even like on the days where the schools are out and like half term and spring break and stuff, then what you wanna do is you wanna get down here at like 6, 7 a.m. I know it can seem like a bit of a hassle, but if you want the park to yourself so you can actually train without anyone watching you, or if you feel like you're being judged, obviously that's not the case 99% of the time, but I get it. We have anxiety. If we're just first learning something, we kind of want to do it in private. So if we fall, we can just dust ourselves off, get back to it. But yeah, get here early, get to the skate park when it's nice and empty, and you'll be able to train in peace nicely. And I mean, just look at it, man. You've got the whole entire park to yourself. I get messages and like comments in my videos all the time saying, bro, why are you standing in the middle of the pool? Can't people skate it while you're there? Why are you doing this? Why are you standing there? Why is the park never busy? Are you living in a ghost town? Well, it's just because I get here early. It's as simple as that, really. A lot of skateboarders especially don't usually rise from the grave until about 12, 1 p.m. Especially the older kind. Obviously the kids and stuff are getting out a bit earlier, and the scooter kids are definitely in like spring break, half term, definitely getting here early. But if you come here at like 6, 7, 8 a.m., 9 out of 10 times you're gonna have the park to yourself. And if you don't, you'll have like one little kid here that's probably more anxious than you are. So just keep that in mind, get here early and you can train in peace. Little disclaimer though, it obviously is great to skate here with people, and some people prefer to be inspired by the people around them when they're skating, which I am certainly one of those. But if I'm filming or want to get something like I'm training on, I definitely come here early. But there are benefits for both sides. I would say just come here super early when you're first getting into it and training, but once you've got a bit of an experience and you feel like you're comfortable, come and meet some people, because that's the best way to get some friends. Okay, so the next one I've touched on in previous videos quite a few times, but if this is your first video of mine, you need to know this as well. This is probably one of the most important on the entire list, and that is when you first get into skateboarding, say you're learning tricks, say you're just trying to see what your progress is and how much better you're getting over time, film yourself. Honestly, get yourself a phone tripod, set it up in the corner of the skate park out of the way, and just film yourself trying tricks. If you're trying to learn how to shove it, for example, you could do the shove it, watch a tutorial, see the differences between, and then like work out for process of elimination how you're gonna get the next step towards that trick. And also, this little bit of kit here. Now, this is a really cool gadget, and it's not a sponsor of the channel at all. This is called an OBS bot. I thought it was OSBot at first, but for some reason it's called OBS bot. But yeah, you can get one of these. I'll put a link to it in the description. And what it is, it's a tripod that tracks you with AI. For example, I'll put over B-roll of me using it, but if you set it up here, you can then like wave at it, it will lock onto you, and then you can skate down and it will follow you across as if it was a human following you with a phone. It's super sick, honestly, and they're not that expensive. So if you're an older skater and you've got a bit of spare cash, definitely recommend giving one of those a try. All right, so next up, we're gonna start a trick book. Now, you can do this in your phone just as easily as you can do it on a notepad of a piece of paper and a pen. But what you wanna do is you wanna set yourself some goals. You wanna set yourself a goal of maybe, I wanna land 5 new tricks this month. I wanna do this trick this many times. For example, if you're just learning how to ollie or boneless or a freestyle trick of some kind, set yourself a goal of when you go to the skate park, landing it 5 times and then filming each time, and take your best one and put it into a little bit of a collage or a folder of some kind so you can track your progress over time. Now, this one ties back into the last point we just made. So basically what you want to do is you want to track your progress so that when you look back in 3 months, 6 months, a year, you can see how much you've improved, see all the tricks you've learned, write down what tricks you've learned, what you want to perfect. And the best way that I found to progress, and trust me, this has helped me astronomically, and that is just set yourself a goal of how many tricks you want to learn. For me, I go for 100 new tricks in a year, but a lot of people don't have the same sort of time that I do to put into skateboarding, as obviously I'm doing this full time now. So maybe you want to set yourself a goal of 10 new tricks in the summer, 15 new tricks in the summer, 5 tricks a month through June, July, August, something like that. And you can also make these like really achievable goals. And I'm going to get into that in a further point in this video, but yeah, definitely film everything you can, track your progress, and put yourself together a book of all your goals and achievements that you want to get in skateboarding. And that will help you so so much. It's improved my skateboarding from like a 5 out of 10 to like an 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, can't big this one up enough. So the next one is probably my biggest weakness when I started skateboarding, and that is being terrified to fail. Now, so many people in this day and age especially don't want to try something because they don't want to go through the failure process, but that is part of skateboarding, and honestly, you cannot get good. It is impossible to get good at skateboarding without failing countless times. Like, you'll fail way more than anyone else has even tried if you want to get good at this. Now, I know you guys, you're not looking to get injured, right? And you don't have to get injured to fail at skateboarding. You can try things that are very much in your skill level, try and keep yourself away from falling over a lot. But the best thing that you can possibly do is get yourself some pads. Now, I know a lot of skaters will be like, nah, you don't need pads, just fail and hit the ground. But yeah, for some, you might find pads a bit restricting and you might want to just go at it raw. You might want to raw dog it. But if you're older, if you're younger, any age range, if you feel like you need it, wear protective gear. Get yourself a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads. The biggest one, in my opinion, wrist guards. There is nothing I've fallen on more in my entire life than my hands. Think about it. If you're gonna fall, most of the time in skateboarding, you're gonna fall forward. So you're gonna wanna put your hands down, and wrist guards have them little like pressure things in the palm that make all the pressure dissipate when you hit the ground, which is super, super handy. Because for me, my palms, always the first thing to slap the ground, and it kills after a while. Like, my palms are like rock solid because I've hit them on the ground so much. And my head, I've never hit my head once. Actually, tell a lie, I did hit it once, and that was like 3 months ago. Over like 15 years, I've only hit my head once. So helmet, I don't think is as important if you're just skating skate parks. Obviously, if you need it, you need it, but I think wrist pads and knee pads are the most important for sure. And I'll finish this section off by telling you guys a little bit of a story so that you know that you can never get quite as embarrassed as I got when I first started, because obviously, tying into point number one, you don't want to be coming down to the skate park and falling in front of everybody on your first day, which is exactly what I did, right? So this exact ramp right here, this very one, and that was in 2005, 2006, probably before a lot of you were even born, you little fetal fuckers. So what happened to me was, I came up to this ramp, and it was my, like I said, my first day at the park. I put my feet on the board like this. No one ever taught me. For some reason, I'd played Tony Hawk's, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I just jumped on the board, went for it like this. God knows why. No one tried to stop me, and I just went for it, went down the ramp, and then honestly, the board shot straight from underneath me. So the board flew out from under me, right? Obviously, I'm at the bottom of the ramp, I land, I'm on my back, and I'd never been winded before in my entire life. If you don't know what winded means, it basically means all the air gets blown out of your lungs, so you can't breathe, and I had no idea what was going on, so I actually thought I was dying, and my God, it is so bright down here. I was just like, I'm dying! I'm dying! And nobody helped me, man. I mean, it's probably best that no one helped me because it toughened me up a bit. So I was just literally laying on the floor, squirming like Earthworm Jim, and it was awful. And if I can keep coming up the skate park after a first day like that, you have got no fucking excuse, you little bastard. Right, so the next one is a very quick and easy one. Just come to the park once you've got a bit of confidence, once you've gotten over the tragedy of what I just told you what happened there. You've probably got some secondhand PTSD just from that. But yeah, when there's people down here, if you're into skateboarding, come down here when there's a bunch of skaters. If you're into other stuff like scootering, why the fuck are you watching this video? Yeah, come down here, start talking to other people, ask them stuff about how can I get this trick, how can I do this, how can I do that, because it's all well and good watching a video of how to do a trick like a shove it, kickflip, 180, whatever it may be, but actually being down here and having someone show you it in person and you being able to watch them, and then also having them say, all right, your foot position goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Having that is obviously going to be so much better than just seeing a video, because they can critique what you're doing right and wrong in real time, and 99.9% of skaters are going to want to see you win, because obviously at the end of the day, we all want to keep as many skateboarders in skateboarding as possible, because we all know that people that can't skate resort to scooters, and that's what we don't want. So yeah, once you've got a bit of confidence, come down here, chat to people, get to know the skate park community, because if you want to get into it and stick with it, you're going to need to know the people that are doing it with you. Yeah, that was a quick one. Let's get on to the next. Right, the next one is when you feel like you've hit a roadblock, You just need to find new types of tricks to try because there are so many in skateboarding. A lot of these trick tip tutorials will say like, right, once you've learned to ollie, kickflip is the next step. Once you've learned to shove it, this is the next step. And that is just not the case. Like, you can take this wherever you want. If you get stuck on the flat ground, you can take something to the bowl, learn rock fakies, drop-ins, and then come back to the flat ground once you've got a bit more board feel. If you've just learned how to ollie, just learned how to shove it, take it to the banks in the middle of the park, do it to fakie, do it riding in fakie, try stuff in switch, and there are so many different variations of tricks that you can do, like bonelesses, no complies, revert tricks. You can try catching the trick with one foot. You can try doing the trick and then reverting afterwards. You can add a body varial in. Skateboarding is one of them things where the only cap on what you can do is the creativity you have. And I get it, right? Sometimes it's difficult to think about what you can do if you don't know what's available, but just go online, watch skateboard videos, watch people skate, watch tutorials, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all of them. Just make it part of the personality, make it part of your daily routine. And the more people you see doing different and cool tricks, the more inspiration you're gonna have. And tying back into one of our previous points as well with the trick book, whenever you see a trick that you think, oh, that looks well cool, and you know the name of it, or you have a way of deciphering the name of it, then what you wanna do, write it in your trick book, be like, right, I'm gonna try that. And maybe it'll be easier than you thought. Maybe you think, all right, I've just learned how to shove it, now I'm gonna do boneless 180. And then you end up getting it super quickly, and that was a trick you never even knew. And if anybody tells you, I swear to God, if anyone tells you don't do that trick is whack, you say, I'm doing it because I like it. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to do it. Simple as that. On to the next one. So the next one is become a jack of all trades, master of none. Babes, if you would follow me, and when I say master of none, I just mean yet. Because obviously, once we get into stuff, we're gonna figure out what we like, and we're gonna get super good at what we like, and then just get decent at everything else for the beginning. But what you wanna do is skate literally everything at the skate park. The mini ramp, the flat ground, the ledges, the rails, the ramps, the stairs, anything and everything is what you wanna skate, because trust me, the more diversity you bring to what you've got, the better you're going to be at tackling things. And then when you come to a skate park, for example, that might not have certain things, let's say you get really good in the mini ramp and you go to a new skate park with your boys for a little day trip or for a weekend or whatever, and then you realize the skate park has no mini ramp. Well, now you're having considerably less fun because you don't have any training in any of the other areas. I've got friends that are just like this. They only skate ramps. Then when we go to a park that's more street orientated, they don't skate it. They just sit there. So what you want to do is just get decent at everything, figure out what you like, and then practice that the most. But make sure that you always give a try to every single part of the skate park, because honestly, I like to skate everything at the park myself. And for example, whenever I go to a new park, I'm always having fun. So yeah, jack of all trades, master of none, yet. All right, the next one is learn patiently and be realistic, right? Every trick tip tutorial, and I'm guilty of this first, will be like, this is how you learn this trick easily. This is how you learn this trick effortlessly. Now, I understand that that's a good way to title something to get someone to watch it, which is good, right? Don't get me wrong, but you just have to realize that just because the trick then doesn't become effortless, doesn't become easy, it's not because of you. These trick tip tutorials are just so you have all the knowledge in order to create the trick and master it, but it's still gonna take time and you're still gonna feel like, oh, this is actually really hard, which is what all skateboarding tricks are, apart from a few here and there. If you don't put in the hard work, you're not gonna learn it. Obviously, some tricks are a lot easier than others, but the big thing you don't want to do is go straight into skateboarding thinking, right, I'm gonna do a 180 to tail stool and then I'm gonna revert in, but I'm not gonna learn how to rock fakie. These things just do not work. You have to start with the basics, and the more basics you learn, the easier the complicated tricks become. For example, I had a friend that wanted to learn all the really hard tricks. He didn't know how to shove it. He didn't really know how to ollie straight. He didn't know how to do anything in fakie, switch, nollie, any of that stuff. Couldn't really manual or anything, but he would always just try heel flips. And he would always in the bowl try like heel flips into stuff, or he would like try 180s into stuff, but didn't have the first trick that he was trying the 180 into. It doesn't make any sense. So you want to do a 50-50 in the bowl. Trying to do a 180 into 50-50 before you've learned how to 50-50 is just silly. you're just gonna hurt yourself like that, and he would always end up injuring himself, and he quit skateboarding shortly after that. So it just goes to show that if you don't set yourself realistic goals and aren't putting yourself on the right career path for learning these tricks in order, then you're gonna mess yourself up, and you're gonna be way more likely to hurt yourself and end up on your back screaming in front of the skate park just like me. So honestly, learn from my mistakes, heed this warning, learn consistently, learn patiently, and learn the basics first. This is such a key tip that you need to adhere by. Obviously, some skaters, there are always exceptions to the rule that are going to be really good at hard tricks straight away. That's the exception, not the rule. And you always want to treat yourself as the rule. So follow those tips, and I feel like you could get pretty good by the end of this summer. All right, the next one is when you learn a trick, you have to realize that that is only step one. Step one is landing the trick for the first time, and then I would say once you've got the trick 3 times in a row, that's when you've officially learned it. At least that's like the rule that me and all my friends use for learning tricks and stuff. But even then, you can learn a trick, land it 3 times. If you then don't do the trick for a week, you can lose it and be right back at square one. So bear in mind, right, you can't just go, right, I'm learning this trick, learning that trick, learning this trick, learning that trick. With my series where I've learned 100 new tricks, I don't generally land them loads of times in a row. It's just more of a challenge for myself to land at least one every day or so. But if you're trying to learn for progression, I highly recommend learning the trick, spending a few days getting to know it, and then moving on to another trick while still practicing the trick from before. Obviously, with 100 tricks, I can't keep practicing 100 different tricks every day. It just becomes a bit of a mental spaghetti. But yeah, pick the first 5, 10, 15, 20 tricks you want to learn, and then just keep doing them as you learn the new ones. The best way to master a trick as well, right? Say you've just learned how to shove it and you've just learned how to 180. Now try do a line where you do shove it and then 180, shove it and then 180, shove it and then 180, just on the flat ground or off a curb or something. And then once you've done that, the more you do the shove it in preparation for the 180, the shove it's going to get better and better and better. And then once you've done that, do 180 and then shove it, 180 and then shove it. That will get your 180 better because you'll be focusing on the second trick more. It might seem a bit confusing, but just set yourself 2 or 3 trick lines and you will get so much better at these tricks, so much faster. And then once you've done that, you can expand on these tricks and take them to small, tiny ramps like this, do them to fakie, add a body varial, add a pivot, add a revert, all kinds of stuff you can do to make the trick a little bit harder. Catch it with 1 foot, like I said earlier, and you will lock down these tricks and have them solidified a lot faster and better than someone that's just landing it and then moving straight onto the next trick without practicing the first one. And that brings me on to the final point in this video. Make sure you expand on your tricks as much as you possibly can. Let's say you've just learned how to revert, right? Just like this. Now to expand on it, try it the other way. Try it in fakie. Try it in nollie. There are 4 different stances for every trick, obviously. Regular, fakie, switch, nollie. Regular when you're riding forward, nollie when you're off the front, fakie when you're riding backwards, and switch when you're riding with your other foot forward. Which means every trick has 4 different variations. You can do a shove it all different ways, and it's a great way to get practicing on that when you first start skateboarding, as opposed to waiting for yourself to like get a couple of years in and then start practicing switch, nollie, fakie, because they have to be trained alongside everything else. And trust me, you will thank me a million times over in like 2-3 years time when you can do all these tricks in all the different stances, because a lot of people will just skate one stance and get decent at that, but then not be able to skate switch. And I'm guilty of this myself. Like, I've only been learning how to skate switch for like the past year, so I've not got that many tricks, especially nowhere near as many that I've done regular. So once you've learned a trick in all 4 stances and you can do them consistently, I would say you've definitely mastered that trick. And another great thing that I love to do to add a bit of spice to tricks is body varials, right? So for example, with a shove it, your normal shove it will look like this. And a body varial shove it is really fun, and it will look something like this. A nice way to spice the trick up. That's all my tips. Let me know any you've got in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.